keep these comments limited in time for about no more than 5 minutes. We've got a lot of business to take care of tonight. First on the list, Denny Crock.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Got a question about the income tax. Well, I'm looking down my streets, less than half the people in the city will be paying this tax. It's kind of an unfair tax, but the other thing I see about $26,000 worth of board salaries here. They tell me it's going to put some nature into professionals. And what are you doing, or is there somebody in charge of trying to help this deficit? Last time I was at a board meeting, this income tax still won't get us in clear, so we're still losing money. I'm making myself clear, you know. I think we're entitled, everybody here evidently is concerned that we're entitled to know what y'all got in plans, if we're gonna pay a tax, you know, and how we're gonna attack this thing, so in 2 or 3 years, we're able to keep the city going. I'm not saying we have to let people go, you know, nobody wants to do that, but I run a business too, and we're still here, and there's other stores that are not, and we have to make changes, and I just wanna know what this, I think as a citizen, I'm entitled to know what you are gonna do. You know, I'm paying you people, I elected you, I trusted you. Last meeting I was here, you know, we're 6 months into the year, and we knew we wasn't gonna make any money. No, just, you know, I'd like to know what the future is, Danny. Are we gonna be here in 3 years? Is the city gonna be going for my business and for my employees? Or are we just gonna let this thing roll? Well, yeah, but I mean, what do you got planned? You should have a plan by now. And you should have some plans like electric bills, or find out if you can do something.
Well, reduction on electric bills, we do have couple people doing research on combining all of our facilities, like the water and sewer use a lot of electricity. Combining all the bills, it's a type of an aggregation. It works with AEP and Columbia Gas. It doesn't work with NOx.
Yeah, I'm fair. We've done that too. I'm just curious.
You know, a lot of the people in Caldwell are on NOx Energy, and then being a co-op,
they won't do it.
They won't do it.
Right.
So anything that we use with Columbia Gas, our main concern right now, what we're looking at is the combination of all our buildings to get a better rate through AEP.
And what's the next step after that?
Well,
that won't do the whole thing.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
Hopefully the taxes will be able to keep the general fund going. Water and sewer takes care of itself. We've talked about selling the effluent from the sewer plant to the drilling company. But see, that's water, that's money that's going into the sewer fund. The only thing, if they get a substantial amount of money and it's invested, the interest from that investment could go into general, but you know how interest rates are now. And it's just like our investments right now pay next to nothing. Hopefully, someday things will change a little bit.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Is there one of your council members that's leading this team of trying to reduce the debt, or is it you, or?
I think everybody's just been trying to work pretty much together. I know the finance committee's looked at it on several different occasions.
So if one of these people here has some ideas, every one of you is willing to accept or listen to them?
Sure.
Because I find in our store, you know, you ask everybody, even if it's the newest carryout, somebody has an idea that you never thought of.
Yeah.
You know, and it's usually a big idea.
We appreciate it if they write it up some way and bring it to us so we have something.
The notations, so an outlay,
Yeah.
have an idea. Or give it to you in your office.
Sure.
If they don't have to wait for this meeting.
Yeah.
Denny, if I can just supplement
Sure.
what he said, looking down the road, you want to know what we're going to do in the future.
Yes, you gotta have a plan.
One thing we're trying to do is preserve that investment we have in the power plant. We haven't been able to preserve all of it. We spent about 120, is that right, Connie? We're $120,000 into the 1.5 million already. That's what makes this an emergency. This was an emergency levy that we, ordinance that we passed. That's one of the reasons. The plan is, when the economy recovers, we went 42 years on our investments without one dime of tax money. Is that understood by everybody here? 42 years without an income tax. Because the economy dipped to the point where now it's next to the depression of the 1930s, the most severe recession we've had since the Depression, our investment income shrunk. And it's been explained over and over again. We had 3 months of security. In other words, we could pay our bills for 3 months. And we've tried to show how if we eliminated the police department, we could gain another month. That's been discussed and rehashed. It's old stuff. We ran out of money to pay bills, Denny, and that's why we have a 1% income tax. Just as soon as we're capable of living off of our investments again, the income tax will be repealed.
But I don't think you can wait, because who knows when the economy's gonna get better. We may be out of a savings account before it does, and we continue and not do anything. You can't depend on that as a safety net. You have to do something, you know, today, yesterday, in case it gets worse, then you're there.
Now, I'm gonna throw something out here, it's probably premature. The fracking that's going on, the drilling and fracking. We've been approached by several companies to get involved. The problem is it's going to involve our Caldwell Lake, our own water supply. There's no way under the sun we're gonna take chances of contaminating our water supply.
I agree with you.
But we've got people coming in here saying, here's $1.2 million, and then you're gonna get part of the revenues from the oil and gas that we arrive at. Folks, we're not gonna commit to something like that if our water supply has a chance of being contaminated. We will not do it. You don't want us to do it, I don't think.
No, I agree with you there too, yeah,
But
it's too early to
if
tell.
the EPA and the experts come in here and say, you're safe, I would like to put it to a vote of the people and let the people tell us whether we should go ahead and drill underneath our lake. And if so, the income tax will be repealed immediately.
I think there's a lot of ifs and a lot of things going on about this fracking. There was a paper in your packet that I was working on, some different legislation to protect groundwater, and they're looking at what other states, the environmental impact would have. And, there's one section in here in New York, Pennsylvania. They're looking at the process possibly be allowed on private lands but banned near municipal water sources on state lands such as parks and wildlife. Depending on what the state does, that may not even be an option.
But you can't rely on that, because everybody can rely on the wells to make themselves rich,
Yeah.
but they're not all gonna come in. Yeah, we knew that.
But, the way it was explained this morning, this is gonna be going on for 15, 20, 25 years. The possibility of selling the effluent, possibly some water with clauses on, drought situations that it can be stopped. We're just taking baby steps, and because nobody really knows for sure what's gonna come out of it. You know, we just tried to look at anything and everything that we can possibly look at to try to reduce expenditures and generate some sort of income.
Just wanted to know.
Okay.
You know, I
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it, you know,
Sure are.
everybody else did too.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
Thank you.
Nathan Albrecht.
At the last council meeting, I asked, about the tires, how much they were and where they were priced. And the answer I got was that Brian Langley priced them, and I was wondering where you priced them at and how much they were.
We got the tires from White's Tire Shop back in June.
About but I meant the last set of tires. Where did you get the prices at? Okay, but where was the price of that also?
I got tires from Mike's back in June.
Yeah, but I mean the last set of tires that we put on the cruiser, there, it's on the audio tape from the last meeting that said there was two, estimates done on it.
I got tires back in June. The tires I got from Henthorns was in December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said that set of tires that you priced, that you bought at Henthorns, you got two price quotes on that set. I was wondering where they were and for how
I
much.
already got the price when I bought the tires for the other car.
Hey, hold on, hold on, man.
Okay.
Since the last meeting, we've implemented a system, and Larry put it together that the police is supposed to follow on any purchases in the future.
Okay.
So that has been dealt with.
But my question,
Yeah,
I'd
you
like
can,
to
you
address
can
that
read it
now.
to you right now.
Village of Caldwell Police Department purchasing policy, purpose. The purpose of this policy is to create a fair and just procedure in the way the department conducts purchasing services for the department. Policy. The Caldwell Chief of Police or Acting Chief of Police or the Marshal of the Village of Caldwell will obtain no less than 2 and no more than 3 bids for the purpose of maintaining departmental equipment. The bids will commence within village businesses first. The Village of Caldwell Safety and Service Committee reserves the right to refuse bids upon review. That's given. All businesses have that. Gas purchases will be made on a monthly rotation, commencing with the village businesses first. This policy will be documented and a report will be provided to the Caldwell Safety and Service Committee at the regular monthly meeting. That should end that.
I guess that still doesn't answer my question, where the last 2 bids were for the last set of tires.
Past is past. I can't answer
Okay,
that.
how much were they?
We really didn't have a policy, so he's basing it off the June purchase and just, that was his other price. So whether the price has changed.
How
or
much
not,
were they?
I have no idea, because that's their deal, but we implemented a policy to deal with that situation. So we can't change what's already
Can
happened.
you get me the information that tells me how much they were?
I don't know, can we, Brian?
That's public record.
Yeah,
man.
Okay. My next question, was, for Lou Anderson. You said, I thought it was, you said that the people, you would let them vote on selling the oil and gas well lease at the Caldwell Lake.
I just mentioned that, it's off the cuff remark, but rather than 6 or 7 people making a decision for the village to possibly dig underneath our lake to get the mineral rights, which would enhance the budget and the financial situation of the village. Rather than this group making that, I would rather see the people of Caldwell tell us yes. Put it to a referendum.
Okay, well, I guess my question is, well, why do you feel they don't deserve to vote on the income tax?
Say that again.
My question is, if you think they should vote on the oil and gas lease at the lake, why do you think they don't deserve to vote on the income tax?
I didn't say they don't deserve them we made this a resolution, that's immediate. We have an immediate need. If we have to wait till March, we're spending more money out of our investment money. So that's the reason. I'm not against the referendum, but we can't delay getting a vote from the people.
Okay.
I'll tell you another thing that brought the emergency, measure up too is there's been a major shift in a state tax law in Ohio, which the small government benefited greatly from the state taxes in the past. It's kept us solvent the last 2 years, and that's no longer gonna be an issue after this year. That there is no money coming from state taxes in the village, if I understand the way I learned the law. Is that correct?
If we've been solvent for the last 2 years.
Because we had a huge estate paid us 2 years ago, and that's how we operated, or you would have had income tax 2 years ago.
Okay.
We had 25,000 come right at the tail end of last year from someone's estate. But that is not gonna happen at all in 2012. That is not even, the law has changed.
So we were solvent last year.
We was able, no,
No.
in the middle of summer, we wasn't. If that 25,000 would have come in, we would have had more of the cash reserve spent. You know, it paid for a month. You know,
We were not solvent. We took $80,000 out of our investment during 2011.
I thought, didn't you just say $125,000?
We've taken 40,000. We've had 40,000 draws.
You're running out of time.
2 in 2011 and 1 for 2012.
Another thing that came up at the last meeting, this is another question for you, Mr. Anderson. You were saying that in the future, you looked at possibly a conflict of interest of buying tires at Mike's. I was wondering how you look at that, and I was also wondering, what you consider, if you consider it to be a conflict of interest to hire Jeff Minosky's son for summer help year after year.
I'm sorry, I have a hearing problem.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
I was wondering, last meeting you said that it was a conflict, you thought it would be a conflict.
I said it could be a conflict.
You thought.
Because the fact is not here yet.
Okay, but you said that you thought that that would possibly be a conflict of interest. Now, I was wondering, how do you not consider it a conflict of interest to hire councilmen's children for summer help and not post the jobs?
Well, I don't know who they're talking about.
I was meaning
Talking
Jeff
about my
Minosky's son.
Sure, Nicholas worked for the village, that is true,
Mhm.
2 years. Yeah,
Do you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
because Earl Ring retired.
I would have to submit it.
Can I speak up? I was on council, as was some others in this room. It has been done many, many times.
Yeah.
Danny Shaw's son worked in the summer. I don't know how many. How can you, what do you want us to do? Put it in the paper and put bids out for a kid to work part-time? All they have to do
It's
is
actually
say,
not
I want a
considered
job.
conflict of interest, it's
Nathan.
considered nepotism.
Excuse me, you've had your 5 minutes, okay?
You put in an application
Okay, Rusty Moncrief.
with,
Alright, I got my answer.
Thank you, Dan.
Rusty,
Yeah,
could you come up here? So we
sure can.
Do my stuff in his fault, or her fault. You're gonna be a good thing. I wanna find out, she really will. As, president of Oak County Retail Merchants Association, I guess, when I was going around the square the last few days, it's been brought to my attention by some of the merchants, the parking situation around the square. I know it has been somewhat discussed, but I don't believe it's been discussed to anybody's satisfaction. What the problem seems to be is we have 2-hour parking signs located on the square, but it's not being enforced, or if it is being enforced, it's being selectively enforced. And it seems to be an issue with pretty much every merchant that I talk to here on the square. So I guess they wanted me to bring it up to council's attention to see what is going to be done about this. And if nothing is going to be done about it, then just take down the signs, I guess.
Part of the people now are parking down in Napa, walking and trying to park off the square. I know it's an issue, we're trying to find some place. Did you talk to the commissioners the other day about?
Are you including courthouse employees that's parking on the square?
That was part of the selective, in what I just stated, that was part of the selective enforcement of it, I guess.
we are gonna try to develop a parking lot on Scott Braden's lot that's beside Pure Water Company.
Okay,
So that is something that's being discussed with the commissioners, we're gonna do a cooperative effort
okay.
with them.
I met with the county commissioners and I turned it over to Rick because he handles the service end of this committee, of the safety and service committee. They're wanting to go half with us on cost, labor, and put in a some type of, it's not really asphalt, but it's some type of a gravel asphalt mixture.
Okay.
Like a cold shield. Something of that nature. I don't really understand it, but I know we're talking about it.
Okay, so it is in discussion, is there anything that's gonna be done until?
Well, we're waiting on them to get back with us with a legal contract that they're gonna make up with Scott Brady, because it is his property.
Okay, but
The
what about,
commissioners has approved.
okay, what about the 2-hour parking situation now? Is it gonna be enforced until then? Or is it,
It's
going to
under dis-
continue as is?
It's under discussion.
Under discussion, okay. Is there anything else you want me to pass along when I get asked
I
about
guess I
this?
need to ask your definition of selective. You mentioned that 3 times.
Selective is to see if, again, I'm not there, I have not seen any personally, I have not seen any tickets I've written, so I'm going off what I'm being told. And what I'm being told is that, yes, some out of city people are being ticketed, but county employees, for example, or the courthouse employees are not being ticketed.
The ones that are being ticketed at this point are the ones that are illegally parking, possibly in front of a stop sign where there's no, I explained to the oil and gas people, if there's no white line in front of your car, you're illegally parked.
Okay.
Rusty, there was a ticket issued to a member of the Ohio Department of Transportation for illegally parking. He's a former member, illegally parking.
Okay. I guess the reason I bring that up is if it is gonna be enforced, it'd be best to see it enforced universally on everything. And if it isn't,
That's our
and
goal.
then that's what's discussed, then,
That's our goal, fair
Okay.
across the board.
good, good, I
If
get
it's
it.
unfair, we're not gonna do it.
Okay, good, that's what,
Ticketed anybody for time limit though yet.
Well, that's
Because
still
what
a
if we
major-
accidentally snag another business person's customer, then what?
Now, if they're there for more than 2 hours, I don't believe there's really any business there
I have no idea.
on this square that should have anybody for more than 2 hours.
I do.
Okay, okay, but, okay, see that, and I don't run your business, so.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But,
we
it
don't-
just brings up a
We
good
don't
point.
wanna accidentally do that either.
It's been a long, Lord.
Actually, I did have one of those, it's just a clarification, actually. You should know, stay with. Yes. There's a clarification about the retainer fee with Rita. Is there a retainer fee or isn't there a retainer fee?
It's a 3%.
It's a 3%? Okay. I have, a response from Chandra to Don McTee, if I pronounced that right, on 1/3/12. It says resolution 2011-15, authorizes retainer percentage to be set at 5% for the year 2012 by the Regional Council of Governments and the RETA services of the Village of Caldwell.
It's not 2, it's from 3 to 5 right now, it's 3%.
Okay, so it's 3 to 5, so it's a
Won't
range then.
fluctuate Unless we get a lot of money, it's 3% right now.
Okay, but anyway, so 3 to 5, but they're probably being 3. Cool. All right.
Okay, Lauren Days.
Thank you, Rusty.
Yep. Thank you.
I have, 3 concerns about this tax that Danny spoke of and several others. First is, we have to have, or we deserve, taxpayers, a clear and definite need. Now, back in 2006, we spent more than twice what we took in. At the end of 2006, we had in excess of $1 million in our checking balance. Now, we're faced with an emergency. What I'd like to know is, if you are the ones responsible for our situation, why did you let the house burn down before you called the fire department? In my home, if I spent twice as much in a given year as I took in, I'd be looking to see where I ought to be cutting corners. And so what I'm saying is, I'm not questioning the need, but I am asking what assurance would we have down the road that you're gonna raise it to 2%? Well, that, we could change the law. But my point is, you were entrusted with the monies that come in. At the end of 2006, we had over $5 million in investment and checking balances. Where did it go? Number two, I see you shaking your head. Well, I happen to have the statement right here, 4.6. 4.6, I misspoke by $400,000. But we're talking about 4,600,000. Second thing I want to know is why we the people weren't allowed to vote on this thing. If I remember correctly, now I'm not quite old enough to have been there, but I'm older than most people in this room, but I seem to remember that the colonists decided to go against King George because, in part, of taxation without representation. The third point I want to make is, the question that I have, why do you go to an outside agency to collect this tax? What are we paying them for? Why don't we get somebody here to go in one of the offices in this building and collect that tax the same way you collect the water bill? You can give me a card and anybody else in here. A card. Name, income, 1%. Figure it out. Come in and pay it the same way you pay your water bill and it's done. And I guarantee you that it won't cost you half as much. It won't cost you a fraction of as much. To have it administered right here in Caldwell, hiring somebody from the city of Caldwell, giving them a job, instead of sending it off someplace to some central agency.
There's so many laws and legalities on what can be deferred, what can't be deferred, who can be paying it, and your time's running out.
I'd like to add to.
Thank you.
You know how much money we're gonna spend at 3%? That's the maximum collection of from 297.
Thank you.
We're gonna spend about $8,000. We cannot bring anybody in off the street for $8,000 to do what you suggested. It's impossible. Expertise is not there. Enforcement's not there. I just wanted to answer your question.
Misty Wells.
I just have a follow-up to what we had discussed last time, and I have a copy of the ordinance from 2009-5 that outlines raises for the village, and I just want to know if you guys went ahead with those.
Raises, that was
Yes,
in
you did, yep.
2009.
You went ahead with them.
Sure, I'll see him. Yeah, we was following the ordinance, I forgot about that when you spoke the last meeting, Carol brought that up.
Because we're a union.
Because I thought 11 was the last year for it.
Yeah, in
So-
2012. We're a union over at the agency, and
Okay.
sometimes you have to make concessions to function, and, you know, I was told that you're at a bare minimum, and getting raises in a state of emergency, when you get an emergency income tax, I don't think that raises probably fall into that. You know, my check goes down every time. My insurance went up, and I had income tax taken out.
Me too.
But the village employees got a raise. And you guys said you're in a state of emergency. In a state of emergency, you do not give raises.
Okay, thank you.
Those are gonna continue, then nothing's gonna,
I would assume at this time,
okay.
yeah.
Also, the money from the oil, like if you would do the fracking like you had talked about, it's my understanding that that would go to the water fund, not into the general fund. Oh, it goes into the general fund?
I think it can be arranged that we go to our officials, but this land is owned by the village of Caldwell, not by the Caldwell Water Department, not by the Caldwell Sewer Department. It's owned by the village of Caldwell. And I think from a legal standpoint, that money could be put to good use in the general fund.
Alright, thank you.
Time more.
I'm not a big numbers guy, but I know some numbers people. This is from my buddy, who I've known for 25 years. He's a vice president at RBC Wealth Management. He said he would fly in, he'd look over our money situation, because I think at the last meeting you said we were making 1% off our investment.
Less than one, less than one.
Less than one. He said he could do it for 3.5. So it's certainly something to look at. He addressed it to the whole village council and kind of made up the proposal to the village council, so you might check that out. I'm a firm believer in resolutions. Like Denny Crock said, that's kind of a resolution that we ought to maybe think about taking up. Because 3.5 is 50 grand, 1's 14 grand.
Thomas A. Crock.
Well, most of my questions have been answered. My only concern is, and I understand your situation, it's tenuous, and I feel bad for everyone because I wouldn't want to be in your position. However, I think that the reason why people are so frustrated is we don't have anything in concrete that you guys have said, this is what we're doing, although the mayor did say that you're looking at try to consolidate some of the bills and that kind of thing. My concern is on behalf of us, our business, our employees, and all of the citizens here is, what are our safeguards down the road? Why will we, 2 years from now, like Denny had said, get into a situation where we have to be concerned and totally be out of business? And that does concern us, especially those of us that do have a business, and some of these people, you know, are working minimum wage, and I feel bad for them because, you know, 1% of their income goes to a tax, and I do know other counties and cities and whatever does it, but I think if we just had something that you could tell us concrete that has been looked at, has been done in black and white, I think that the issues would be more resolved and be less people being so disgruntled.
I'll tell you one thing, Thomasina, our last two meetings, like our work session meetings, we've dealt with internal items and how to deal with everybody that comes to this meeting. So we are a little bit distracted.
I know, and I understand that.
I mean,
I would not want to be in your position, and
Yeah.
I do feel, and it's not personal against anyone in here, because I know that's tough.
But it's consuming a bunch of time.
It is,
That can
and
be
I
done
understand
somewhere
that,
else
but
constructively.
if it had
Yeah.
been at least presented to us and let us know that there was an issue coming up, I don't think we would be so frustrated. And I know that there's never a right answer or wrong answer, because no matter what you do, sometimes isn't right. That's just my concern. I just, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people that have complained to us and on, you know, my concerns too. But, God
And
bless you.
I'll say that also, I'm not trying to complain I know what these situations are like, and I know you guys are in a hot seat, but I'm just saying, when you're on the outside looking in, and I know that you got a raise, it bothers me.
Well, the thing with the raises is most of those people are water and sewer licensed, not everybody, but most of them are licensed water and sewer people. They are licensed well enough, they could leave and drive 20 miles north and get a job that pays twice what they get right here.
Right.
So you have to stay within a competitive range to hold that employment.
I agree, and it's my understanding that the water and sewer has money.
Right.
If the rest doesn't, I don't wanna see, with the position I'm in, I don't want anyone to lose out on anything.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it was said that you're at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum, you don't give raises.
Right.
And that stinks, I'm there, I haven't had one.
That decision was made in 2009, when we was making a certain amount, in 2008, we was making a certain return on our money. That just dropped off all of a sudden, we can't even anticipate it.
Why couldn't you declare an emergency?
We should have, right in there, we should
And
have,
did a freeze on wage increases?
I was a little distracted, you forgot about it, tell you the truth.
Woody Ford.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to address you guys, as Jeff knows, about a year ago, my basement got flooded.
Mhm.
I've been working with the insurance company, I'm not getting anywhere. So I wanted to let you guys know, cause this is what the insurance adjuster told me. Talk to you guys, nothing happens in a week, it's time to get a lawyer.
Okay.
Right. Jeff, you know what I went through.
Yeah, I was there.
You know, I don't know what else to do.
I'm not real sure how, they feel it falls to our insurance, is that what they feel?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
They've done nothing but give me the runaround.
I'll address that issue. Yes, I spoke with the insurance company and I was in an understanding that they were gonna take care of that, so
Yeah.
if they haven't, I'll
That's
take
our
issue with
insurance.
it.
That's what they told me. You told me that, the insurance adjuster
That's
told me
what I
that.
was told.
And now every time I call him, he either
I
won't call me
wasn't-
back or they've got some excuse. One of their big excuses is you guys won't talk to them.
Who have they
That's coming
notified?
from their insurance adjuster.
Who have they notified?
They don't tell me that.
I talked to
I
him
can't
back
get
when
to nothing.
this problem happened. And I said, it's our fault, we're gonna take care of it.
So you're Hamilton.
Well, I thought I did
Sure.
already, so I didn't, I don't have to find out who my contact was. and-
If you don't get anywhere, give me a name and a number.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that taken care of for you, but so it's, looks like it's almost needing to raise our water estimate.
Sorry, Wade.
I
thought it was done I don't know what else to do.
Well, I'll take care of it.
I mean, they just keep dragging me back and forth.
Okay, let's move on to resolution.
One time it's
Got
the contractor's problem, and the next time it's you guys.
Resolution by the council of the village of Caldwell, Ohio, Noble County, authorizing the clerk treasurer to transfer money from the completed project funds to their proper balance.
Did you see I have a motion by Powell, seconded by Anderson, to accept the resolution by the council of the village. Powell? Anderson?
Yes.
Jones? Salem?
Yes.
Manowski?
Okay, now we have an ordinance by the council of the village of Caldwell authorizing the clerk treasurer of the village to disperse revenue from the water and sewer collection to the following funds. Water construction, $15,000. Water net revenue bond retirement, $25,000. Sewer construction and replacement, $15,000. Sewer revenue bond retirement, $25,000, and sewer equipment, $3,000 per month.
I move that passage of this ordinance.
A motion by Powell, seconded by Salem. Powell? Powell?
Yes.
Salem?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Manowski?
Yes.
Arlis?
Question. Water construction, 15,000
Yes, that's for
What?
month.
per month. Water lines,
Everything.
okay. Yes.
Okay, finance and rules.
I'm gonna stand up so you can hear me. Last meeting, I said that I would get the information about the support that the village offers to our fire department for the year 2011. We met with the fire chief, Rick Starr, and Shane Rucker last Monday in a work session. And in the discussion, the insurance is with Crum Richards for the buildings. The content for the fire department, they pay the content, we pay for the building. All-state flood insurance for the whole area. AEP Electric, Knox Energy Co-op, Bucky Disposal, and the fire agreement, which passed at $680 for the fire agreement. All told, the village paid last year in 2011 for those areas $42,150, and the prorated amount for the fire department agreed to mutually by the chief and by the committee was $16,200, which is 38% of the total expenditure. Any questions?
He's getting the report, yeah.
That's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay, service and safety.
Talked to Earl, and they got some concrete slabs put down with the creek that was cutting away for the walking track. Hopefully, if we don't have no big rains or nothing, this will hold till spring to where we can get more stuff in it to hold it, cause the slip was right up against the blacktop.
They've got it stabilized to some
Hopefully,
extent.
that we inherited.
Yeah.
That's about all we had, wasn't it?
Okay, other business, Sam Ramage's in need of attending, state auditors, local government officials conference. We need to get the registration paid and hotel renovations made. We've talked with state auditor's office, and where are you, Sam? She kinda went through and highlighted the classes that you need to take, right? So we need to get together and get that taken care of. By law, necessary personal expenses incurred as a result of attending a training program shall be borne by the political subdivision they represent. That's us. So we need to get that arranged.
Need a motion now?
What's the total cost?
The early registration is $225 if it's done before February 27th. Sam had asked me if she could go ahead and make her hotel reservations soon, and we reimburse her. Can we do that way?
Whichever way I'm fine with. I just know that, I talked to one of the auditors and they said it's starting to fill up. And I don't wanna have to stay someplace else. I'd like to be close.
Yeah.
So,
I make a motion that we, pay for school and their necessary expenses as required.
Okay.
I second.
It is March 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Is that the class you're
Yes.
gonna, is that the class you're gonna take, Sam? March
yes,
7th, 8th, and 9th?
yes, and they gave me a sheet that highlighted the classes, cause of course you evidently can't do them all, but she gave me a list and I just need to get registered for them.
Yeah, Lisa from the state auditor's office has been real helpful in getting things lined out of what you need to take, I think. She's
Yes, they have.
helped you immensely.
Connie
Yes.
will show you everything if you don't know.
She just down,
Turn around.
register online, and then we'll have to cut a check. Send in, they don't take credit cards. Yeah.
Manosky, seconded by Harless, to pay for the expenses of Sam Ramage for the local government officials conference on March 7th, 8th, and 9th. Manosky.
Yes.
Harless. Jones.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Salem.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get together and get that straightened out.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Yes, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss finance and personnel.
Second.
I got a question, if I could ask you first, for a comment from the safety fellow. Take a minute. There's also a hole when you come across the bridge here, starting back to town, on the left side, there's a place you wish I could throw a horse in. If somebody's walking at night, there's no lights, and it's probably really not sidewalk, but it's between the road and the guardrail. If somebody's walking on this side of the bridge, up through there, they're gonna win that hole.
Just right up here?
Yep, before you get to the bridge.
Okay,
Right across from Davis Drug. It's moist out there, and you can throw a horse in it.
all right.
Did you second that, Rick?
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll talk to Earl about it.
Okay, I have a motion by Harless, seconded by Saling, to enter into an executive session for personnel reasons. Harless.
Yes.
Saling.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Howe. Anderson.
Yes.
Manosky.
Anyone like to attend? Board of Public Affairs, Superintendent of Water, Sewer, council members,